Pashupati Advani is also joining us on the show. So let's welcome him on board. Pashupati, hi. The move that we are seeing in the PSU banking space, do you think there are more legs to the rally, and any stock that you would want to discuss from that pack?
Well, I think that all PSUs are doing well simply because the government is spending and has a mission to get a lot of projects done. And obviously the PSU banks are easily going to supply money for that. So I think that, as long as that continues, one needs to be long the PSU bank simply because the government is not going to default. They're making a good spread on their interest, and they're also expanding their book. So all those are good things for banks. So yeah, and of course, I've always been the top of the list has always been SBI because it's always been an interesting bank to follow, and it's got lots of subsidiaries which are also doing well, and will continue to keep going. Whereas private banks can say no, and PSU banks normally don't when the government sends their request.
Mr. Advani, your take on the IT sector?
I personally have not been as hot on the IT sector, but the thing is that it benefits whenever the rupee gets weaker, and the rupees moved from 75 to 83 in the last year and a half. So obviously the IT sector will benefit. Some of the companies, the larger ones, seem to have got their act together. The mid-cap ones are aligning and probably are poised to be taken over. But there seems to be enough business, despite the fact that they had to change direction because of COVID and find new ways of making money. So it's not a bad sector to be in. Foreign investors tend to buy it because it is representative and has a large chunk of the market. So, it is. But I'm not so excited about that particular sector personally.
That's the take coming in on the IT pack right now. But Pashupati, quite a few IPOs as well coming in, almost, one on a daily basis, literally. Tomorrow you've got Yatra opening, you've got, the Zaggle IPO as well, you've got Sami Hotels, so many IPOs, and of course RR Cable as well. Any of these DRHPs that you may have analyzed?
I'm actually not in that IPO market because I find that the allotments traditionally have been very small. These days you're getting much larger allotments because they're not so oversubscribed like they used to be. But once in a while you'll get one which is hugely oversubscribed. It's better to actually let them settle and then decide, in the aftermarket, maybe a month or two down the road, and then decide whether you want to take a position, and then the supply is also there. So yeah, and of course, a company, as you had mentioned earlier in the show, Yatra is something that's part of our day-to-day lives. So, so it will get picked up, it will get absorbed. And so far, I did see an article last week which showed that IPOs generally have performed well in the last 6 months, and they haven't disappointed investors in terms of those who have invested in them. So hopefully that's another conduit for retail investors to come back into the market.
Coming in fact, Zaggle Prepaid, talking about that, it has got quite a few marquee investors. Ashish Kacholia, there's Himanshi Kela, ValueQuest. They have invested almost 98 crore rupees together. So that stock too has been seeing a lot of interest, at least in the pre-IPO circle. Let's see what the IPO subscription figures really throw up. But that's for the primary market. Talking about secondary market and what the action is on the screen for you right now. Of course, it's NHPC, which is doing quite well. DB Realty is up 7%. IOB, Triveni Engineering, NMDC, Mahindra Holidays. These are some of the stocks which are doing well in the trading session. In fact, the other one is Sami Hotels as well, which is going to be coming out with IPO as well. Just wanted to get a take from you on the hospitality sector. In the listed space, right from Indian Hotels to Mahindra Holidays, all of these stocks have run up. Pashupati, is there any stock where you still see value within hospitality and tourism?
Well, it looks like people are visiting India for business, and also people are visiting India for tourism. We're going into the beginning of the season for the tourism, and all the hotels are quoting prices that are a lot higher than they were 12 months ago. So, what should I say, last Diwali to Christmas, they're quoting probably 20%, 25% higher. And so it looks like this year is going to be a good season for them. So then you buy. I prefer the big ones. I like Indian Hotels and East India. Indian Hotels is on a tear upward ahead of the rest of the pack. East India has lagged a little bit, but probably provides value at this level.
Apart from financials, which is the other space where you see quite a bit of value? Because whether it's power stocks, railway stocks, defense stocks, they've all run up.
Well, I think the government between now and the elections next May are going to do a lot of infrastructure, try and complete a lot of projects. And that's going to put huge pressure on cement, steel, chemicals that are used in construction, as well as the construction companies that have got the work. So I think those are the ones that you can quite safely buy, at least for the intermediate term of the next 7 to 8 months, which is like a good run. They're going to get work, they're going to get it fulfilled. And there's going to be project after project that's going to get completed, and we're seeing it in roads, for example, and railways. Modi ji just inaugurated 508 railway stations 2 weeks ago in a pretty impressive ceremony. It was done virtually, but at least they're all moving, and there's refurbishment of stations and upgradation of all that. So there is a lot of spending going on, and it's driven by the government. So I think anything that's associated with that will be pulled up with the market, and that's the space to be in.
Okay, that's the take coming in on where the infrastructure story is headed. It's really the usual suspects. I mean, metals looking quite okay. There's NMDC, like we flagged off earlier, after them hiking the fine steel prices by about 300 rupees per ton. UPL after that upgrade from antique, wherein they believe that challenges are now tapering off. Pashupati, what is your own sense on the entire chemicals space right now? Because a couple of these global majors did come about and sort of sounded off warning signals, cut their guidance as well. And chemical stocks back home as well did feel the heat. Now what?
Well, the challenge with the whole chemical sector is, we really don't know what's going on in the sector in China. And China has the volumes to be able to, really affect prices globally. I don't think anyone is saying don't buy Chinese. But the thing is, they've had some difficulties getting supplies out, which seem to be getting over. And therefore, the chemicals are in the market globally, and therefore we're not able to export. And we've had a good run of last 8-9 months, but that run is unfortunately over because the supplies have caught up. So I would be a little bit wary and just sit on the sidelines and wait for things to happen and wait for news. That's my thought on the chemical sector.
On the chemical sector, stocks as well, they have been doing fairly okay for themselves of late. Again, is there a pocket that you're looking at? Let's say maybe Mumbai facing, real estate names, or these are the South Indian names, or even NCR is coming back now?
Yeah, I think Bombay and NCR have lagged because there's a lot of supply and it's taking time. And, I don't think the flats are cheap enough. The builders are making still money. And in Maharashtra, they're also waiting for the FSI to be increased, in which case the builders will make even more money and more people will be crammed into the same space. We're obviously seeing some traction in good quality, second-tier town builders. And of course, the big names like, DLF and all are doing okay. I mean, they're fine. And it's a proxy for growth in India. As more and more people buy homes, people are going to come into all the real estate companies. So there are lots of big ones. It's a big component of the index, and therefore the sector is enjoying itself.
Yeah, and not to mention the valuation that Bombay 9 got for its Worli plot as well. But in the meantime, let's just address some of the other movers in the market. ONGC sure has shot up today. There's M&M as well, which is looking good. About a 2% bump up coming in there. About 1571 thereabouts is where the stock price is. And then I want to see where Tata Motors too is, because there's been a new unveiling from the JLR stable today. Tata Motors a little bit tempered, about 0.2% or so. Pashupati, your take on autos right now, sort of in a consolidation mode, although they continue to be standout performers like an M&M or Tata Motors. Would you think good time to perhaps add positions here?
Autos, I think I read somewhere that there's also some build-up in inventory with the dealers. I think it's going to go through a bit of a phase of consolidation, as you mentioned. So I wouldn't jump into autos at these kinds of levels. I just sit on the side. I think that interest rates are higher. A lot of two-wheelers and four-wheelers are financed, so that is going to put some kind of cap on the market. And again, we are followers. So in the US and UK, the same thing is happening. The cars are not moving out the doors as fast as they used to. So it's a little bit slower. So just hang on. There will be ample opportunity, in my opinion.
Just hang on. There will be more opportunities coming if you want to buy into the auto sector. Last 3 minutes, so quickly, just Pashupati, a word on the entire consumer discretionary, space that we are witnessing an uptrend into, whether it's an ethos, whether it's landmark cars, whether it's, the other names coming in as well in the, uptrading kind of trade. Is there any name, or even the QSR space for that matter, any stocks that you like?
Well, the QSR is here to stay. So I would actually, look at that sector. I've not actually focused on that sector for a bit, so I need to review it. Again, the new wave sectors also have been performing well. So I think those also need to be taken a look at. And there are opportunities. One has to just look and see which are the companies that are going to survive and be around in 3 to 4 years' time. Those ones will be 4x, 5x, and their competitors may be left in the dust. So I think this is a great time to really be picky and to choose stocks of high quality and good management.
Okay, Pashupati, we'll let you go on that note. Thanks as always for taking the time out and joining in, counting down